in.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis. Mr. Chung, that was a question directed, but I'm sure Mr. Paulwell has the economic model also.
But that answer, as we saw in Singapore, that worked wonders. In fact, I want to tell you that Harry Lee Kuan Yew had visited Jamaica back in the 60s. And in his putting together of that model that has made Singapore a shining beacon in the East, some of it came from Jamaica. To the extent that when I was in school, the pride I speak of, one lady told me they used to come down to Jamaica to ask for our trained personnel to go and show them how to run public sectors in Africa. We have lost that edge. Can we bring it back? The answer is yes. How are we going to do it? Well, if anybody's in business, and you know that to get more revenue, you need to do more profitable business, correct? Because if you're not doing it, you're not going anywhere. And so if you keep borrowing, my Bible tells me that the borrower is a slave to the lender. That I do know. And so the more you're doing it, is the generations yet unborn going to pay this money back.
Thank you, Mr. Chung. Thank you.
A simple answer to the question is this. The JLP has so far promised things that amount to 60 billion Jamaican dollars. They said that they will not increase taxes and they will not borrow any money. Now, let us figure out how are they going to find that money to spend $60 billion without those other things. I think we are dreamers and we have to get back to reality. We have a situation, we have a reality to where we do have a huge debt. We have to manage our way out of that. And it has to be systematic and careful. And there's nothing that has come from the JLP that can convince any Jamaican that they have a plan to grow our way out of this problem, as we do.
We can go back and forth, Mr. Chung, but we won't do that. We're going to go to the chat room next. You can come back, you can weave it in another time, Mr. Chung. Xavier Murphy, Jamaicans.com. What's the next question we have?
Okay, someone here from Canada asking, Jamaica is known as the land of wood and water. Given Jamaica's natural renewable resources, what are your plans to develop and utilize renewable sources of energy, recycle products, and reduce waste?
Excellent question. I'm the Minister for Energy, so I better go first. We have now established in Jamaica a center of excellence for renewable energy coming out of the Petro-Carib initiative that myself and the Venezuelans have been involved with. We now have in Jamaica hydropower, where we are generating electricity using water, and we're expanding that into the Rio Grande scheme, over 20 odd megawatts. We now have a wind farm. Any of you who have been to Wigton in Manchester, we are generating 20 megawatts of electricity using wind. We have put in place incentives recently to get our people to utilize more solar. There should be a solar water heater on every house in Jamaica. We have removed the taxation from that in the last budget exercise, and we are hoping that Jamaicans will take advantage of that. We're looking at biogas, biomass. We are going to be using the garbage now to generate electricity from it. A number of private sector people are coming in.
Renewable time.
Jamaica is the leader in the Caribbean in relation to renewable sources.
Mr. Chung, any thoughts that the JLP has on this issue, renewable energy options?
Some of those things you can't turn back.
Some of those things you can't?
You cannot turn those back. I mean, I know the minister has a difficult job. I know it is. I know it is. It's not easy when you're reaching out and you're not getting the kind of response that you want to get. And I know you must spend a lot of sleepless nights dealing with that. But at the same time, if one is speaking of vision, those are some of the prices that you pay. That is a price that you have to pay. And I had one quick question. The caller had asked that Jamaica is known as the land of wood and water. And I just have one question before you move into the next one. Was that a name given to our nation by the Jamaican people? I rest my case.
That's a question. You're asking a lot of questions tonight. Hopefully the audience can provide some answers. Gentlemen in the back. Gentlemen in the back. Commissioner Salesman, go ahead. Host of one of our evening. Give him a hand, Commissioner of Miramar.
Thank you all for coming, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to say to the Minister, Mr. Chung, welcome. I have two burning questions because I've heard a lot.
Can you limit it to one, Commissioner?
I've heard a lot of rhetoric. I'm going to ask them both in one. a lot of rhetoric there, and it's been going on ever since I can remember. And my question is simple, this. When we talk about constitutional reform, is either party willing to unravel the mess where we have the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary to a great extent all wrapped up in one, where when the Prime Minister, irrespective of who he or she is, controls just about everything? The next question is simple this. How can I live in Clarendon and then you take someone from Kingston who has never lived in Clarendon, who only have a satellite office, comes to my constituent, my hometown, maybe once every 2 months, and go back home to Kingston? How can he represent me?
Thank you, Commissioner. It's like somebody in Homestead representing you in Miramar, eh? All right. Mr. Paulwell.
That's an excellent question. That's why I ask Mr. Golden every time, why is he doing it in West Kingston when he's from St. Catherine?
Mr. Paulwell, do you live in your constituency?
I was born, I grew up in Eastern Kingston, Port Royal. Nobody can question my relationship with my people in East Kingston, Port Royal. That's where I'm born and grew up.
So
now, let me come back to the constitutional question, because I think it's important.
Thank you.
That the People's National Party has always advocated for separation of powers. We have always advocated for an executive-style government system from the 70s. Mr. Golden of late has come around. But in relation to, I just want to correct you though, because we must be fair. In relation to our judiciary, Jamaica has a proud tradition of an independent judiciary. And we must never ever make the mistake of clouding that. We've had excellent judges. We've had courts rule against government. They rule against me recently, right, on issues. So the Prime Minister is not in control of our judiciary. Yes, legislature and executive are tied. And I support the separation of powers.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Mr. Chung, any comments on Commissioner Salesman's question?
I just wanted to say the same question was asked of the Prime Minister in Southwest St. Andrew, because I know she don't come from there. So I just wanted to get that record straight. I agree that there has to be separation of some of the arms of government that you refer to. There has to be. I know the Jamaica Labour Party has been pushing for constitutional reform.
And we have a copy right here if anybody wants to see a copy of the Constitution distributed. If you want to see a copy, we have a few copies from the Jamaica Information Service. Go ahead, Mr. Chung. Can close with
I think I just about made my submission on that.
Gentleman in the back, or who's that? Duchess from WLRN 91.3 FM, Sundays and Mondays. Give her a hand, please.
Thank you.
What's your question, Duchess?
My question comes from the very music that I play on the program. The theme that's coming out, the cries of the young, and when I say the young, I'm talking from school-age graduate to 30-something. And sometimes I even think that the 30-something generation is forgotten. But what is the plan for the young, opportunities, a reasonable salary that one can live on? I know Jamaica is a vast place, and the opportunity may not be in the area where you live, and you may have to move, or your family may have to move, the whole family, so that you live near or in the area where you can work in the area where you want to work.
Okay.
What's the plan?
What's the plan for the youth? JLP's plan for the youth. Mr. Chung, you want to take that one first?
I know that on Monday the manifesto is coming out, and I know
where can the audience get a copy of it?
It will be on the internet.
Okay.
For those of us who won't physically have it in their hands.
And what's that website?
It says the JamaicaLabourParty.com. Yeah.
So what are we going to do for the youth,
People
Mr.
are more
Chung?
up to date.